Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, 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 winter. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, 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 winter. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, 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 winter. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, winter, winter. Welcome. Winter, winter, Winternomics.
What up? What up? What it do? It is the last trading day of the year. This is Real Nomics Black and White. Happy to see some of you show up. I wasn't knowing what I'm going to get today. Definitely feeling Skeleton Crew vibes. 75. That's not bad for December 30th, I gotta say. Got some diehard degen traders, you know. Gotta love it. So, unbelievably, that black and white took me a far greater amount of time than I could have ever dreamed. I was actually ready at like, you know, final shot and final edit time at like 8:06. That took me a half an hour to finish that thing. Good God. Anyways, what do you guys think? Like the cover art for this one or what? You guys who know binary fractal trading know exactly what that shit means. Yeah, I don't want to do a show all by myself today, so I thought I'd get my boy come keep me some company. We do too much like hyper color, you know. I thought we should throw it back a little bit. OG status. So how you guys been doing? You know, we've come to the end of what's got to be one of the craziest fucking years. You know, news flow wise, volatility wise, event wise. I mean, we've got a fractal Madoff Enron, so it's definitely one of the crazy years since fucking 2001 and 2008 to see a headline and a fraud as big as that. Shout out to everybody doing some morning bits. Appreciate you, Mal, Joe Malomo, Jans. Why does Joe Maloma have his entire name on here? Don't put your government name on YouTube. But no, I appreciate all you guys that support the show and stuff. NFT, the one. You like this one for an NFT? Yeah, I got a couple of requests. I'm still back. I'm working on getting one out right now, but I thought I was gonna get it for the end of the year, but just been a little crazy. I do have a couple more pieces coming out, but I guess they'll be coming out in January and February. So all you acolytes, you know, how do you feel about your progress from, you know, joining? I think we opened acolytes in August. I think we opened in August. So of the acolytes who were here this morning, how do you guys feel about your progress from, joining the Discord side of YouTube and learning some skills to go along with the show content? Is it more or less than what you expected you would get out of like a training program attached to a YouTube station? Joe, it's all good. I'm just saying in general, nobody does that. That's why everybody has wacky names like Lucky Beast and Silverline. Easier, clearer. I like that. Thanks for everything this year. It was a crazy year. Let's kill it even more. Yeah, I'm trying to get things into just a more precise spot for us next year. To organize the intel better for us. Broke down end of year things. I'm gonna go in here and throw some cool stuff out I found. So every day, can't be throwing this up here, people be screen grabbing shit, but every day I break down every single asset class in the entire market. So I have all of our currencies, all of our stocks and stuff to care about, all of our forex and currencies, and all of our crypto that we give a shit about. So going to next year, I have a hell of a playbook for us. So we're gonna try to get that out, market prep, and only stands to where it's make sure it's like where everybody can get access to it, and you know how to think to use which parts that are what you're watching, not use everything that comes out, obviously, but take advantage of everything that we have in the ecosystem. All part of the smarter audience thing, So you guys, after watching this year's news flow and stuff, you get why there's such a labor of love in doing this, right? Retail is not supposed to actually win in the capital markets. Retail is the food of the institution in the capital market because there's no one else to lose from, right? If they're planning to go get money out of the capital markets, it's a very clever way of saying I'm coming to rob retail. That's the only place you get it. And no one's really trying to give you a return on your money if they can. It's all or nothing in this game. May definitely understand concepts way better, but still struggling with implementation. Spec last 2 months. I'm not sure what that means, but loving the membership and new learnings. It's so dense, so much to learn. Excited for 2023. Well, if you're having any issues, definitely come forward and let me know right away. Because when we get to review those, you're never going to be the only person that has it, and it definitely helps anybody else that's got the issue. So that's kind of our refining process. Is the more of you that speak up, we get to look at it from a different perspective than you see, and that helps refresh other people on some of the fundamentals they forget. And people who have the same problem also get to learn from a vantage point that's not like their own. The more times we can do that, people have many of the same problems. And when I hash it out with you, you may have difficulty in reading it when we're going one-on-one, but people in a third-person perspective have an easy time judging other people. So we have all of our issues hashed out together so that we can actually keep on doing that. And everybody around gets to spectate from a third-person perspective problems that they have. But the conversation, the repetition of the conversation from being a first person and third person allows you to gain perspective, right? Especially, okay. Wow, everybody know that short and sweet. My bad. Shout out to the legend, 2 bills. Appreciate you, sir. Hope you had a killer fucking year. So let me go back and read what you said. Especially the last 2 months. All right, well, main thing is journal what you had problems with that you can show me in the last 2 months, and we can go back and realign this and see where where the issue is, and that will help you a lot just to see that. So do that and drop it in the chat, and then just tag me when you drop it, and we can do that inside Trading Labs. All right, so I know it took forever to get this show started. It's 8:54 already. If anybody's breaking their necks to get in here, probably are because you're here for the show. So we'll get a good macro in here. I was going to show you guys. I had some other things I want to show in the previous shows. As always with the specials and end of year stuff, I like to put some good gems in there for the people that take the time to show up. I know people watch it later, but for you guys that come in and watch all the shows all the way through Christmas and holidays, I try to make sure it's worth your time. What do you guys think of the return of the Winter Oracle? 1, did you dig the art? And 2, what did you think of the content of that show? Because that was a pretty incredible set of fractals we covered from just the last 20 years to the last 100 years, and really looking at the structure of how the market is built, by the Fed cycles, and that the de-risking process they do is so necessary to remove those cancers that form in the system when they're hitting the whole body with some steroids. You're going to get a tumor, and they're smart enough to know to cut the tumor out before they hit the body with more steroids. It's pretty crazy when you really look at it. Nothing's a mistake. The Fed's not accidentally doing what they're doing in the rates. When you're zoomed in, you're like, you motherfuckers are gonna ruin my business. Yeah, we know, but if we don't ruin your fucking business, your whole fucking country's gonna be ruined. It's an insane thing when you look at what the Fed really manages on the macro scales. And while Congress and the president are fucking up their asses, they're independent of fucking the government because you really see it, they have to be. They can't be politically affiliated. The politicians would destroy the country if they're in charge of the central bank. Could you imagine if you had the ability to print money to fucking bolster your base and make your constituents happy? It'd be a disaster. You see what happens when Erdogan's got fucking influence on his central bank? Nothing good, right? Took some time, but definitely getting a better grasp on concepts, starting to implement better and improve a little bit by little. 2022 was really perspective changing year with highs and lows, rotating a bull flag for life. Can we see ETH-BTC? We'll see if we get there. like that. Yeah, I thought seeing that the Fed nailed some version of the same motherfucker across the last 20 years. I remember when Enron happened, and to me at that time, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, how could that even happen? And when Madoff happened, it was also like, really, the head of the Nasdaq? How the fuck could he have happened? I was mind fucked to believe that the head of the Nasdaq sat in broad daylight conducting a fraud of the size he did, and he just in the trusted position he was. Like, you got to be kidding me. But by this cycle, when I told you when the Fed de-risked, like they fucking basically have to remove the bad actors from the system. Even an idiot after fucking 20 years can get what the fuck happens when they do this shit. So it was kind of nuts. Like it took me a while to fucking get it, but it was like holy fuck. Cause like they literally know somebody's in there. They don't necessarily know where you are, but they know if they do this, it'll flush those fucking roaches out from under the fucking table. It's the craziest shit. Um. So the big macro Dow helps to keep us in perspective of like, what's the Fed managing in the long haul, past the span of our lives, fucking an incredible bull market. In the near term, what they're doing looks like Armageddon type shit. And if you come down to the years, if you go across 20 years, we know it's absolutely necessary, and we can see the kind of span of time between them. 2000, 2001 cycle to 2008. There's 7 years between that. And then you get something like this fucking guy, like Sam, now popping up, over a decade behind it. But these things are like PPT interventions. They're very, very anomalous, across the decade. So really shouldn't be expecting something like Sam again right behind him. The one thing I think that's definitely key to pay attention to is Kathy's big penis. And I know nobody wants to think about that at the end of the year, but her fucking dick's on everybody's fucking mind that's fucking in that fund. And we talked about it. Like there's a lot of irresponsible people built on the back of this easy money wave. And if you look at the size of the wave, let's get a chart for this. What did I do with it? Oh right, I put it on this chart. Let's look at this guy again. So, Sam really had time to form, like your bad actors had time to form from this run. Like, this run from Enron's low allowed you to get a Madoff by the time the housing reflation trade happened and blew up again. But this run, just looking at it, looks fucking insane. From the last time you see a debacle like that. If we put him on logarithmic too, it really is an insane fucking run since he blew Madoff out. And there was so much easy credit to support the country out of the banking crisis, before you really had any actual real growth hit, before COVID then fucked you up and you had to put more credit under the system. You just got an assload more stimulus into the market before you got like from here to here versus here to there. So, MicroStrategy, Saylor, Kathy Woods, what she's doing in ARK. These people are fucking like irresponsible people that have corralled a lot of fucking people's money. Now, one thing that I tell you guys is that like with all that right, from the show, and really basic stuff, all of the viewers here, if you're new or not, right, and we look at something like this and we say, hey, Kathy's big fucking holdings of Tesla, Zoom, Coin. Right? Things that require cheap money to invest in fucking high risk tech to get big returns. When money's cheap, you can build an EV company because it costs you 1% to fucking try. You have to barely make it work. But if money gets expensive, right, and you take crazy risks, you're gonna have to fucking like make outsized returns to survive. So tech doesn't do good when you're in like a high interest rate environment. That's just 101. There's no way you can tell me that this lady has an education when she maintains the same thesis, right, for something like Zoom, when you're pre-COVID to where the Fed is stimulating fucking the market, to where the Fed is liquidating the market, and you just keep telling your investors to send me money and keep firing it into this, firing it into that, firing it into this, and just keep saying it and saying it. And like any reasonable fucking like, you know, a marketician is going to look at this and go, you know, I think industrials are slightly stronger than Tesla. And would stop. Right? The tide is against that, and that the entire capital flows in the market are against what she's doing. Just, you know, just looking at it. Or when you look at something like, you know, Warren Buffett investing in Oxy Energy, which is fucking clearly in focus with a war, and her saying, I'm going to buy more coin. Like, she's been really wrong about this the entire year. This is like not just sort of a miss, it's just completely wrong. Everybody in here knows if you saw fucking Bitcoin dominance fucking pumping, you wouldn't go fucking buying LTC. There's a whole point. Bitcoin dominance means it's the strongest fucking thing out there. Kathy is buying literally the weakest assets, broadly buying the weakest assets. And she sucked in fucking $700 million to pump into fucking ARK funds that look like this year. ARK G, fucking Print, all of her shit is just getting fucking annihilated. Everybody on this station is already more qualified than Kathy is to manage what Kathy's managing. And you have to look at it, right? When you look at Sam and Carolyn, you don't need the media to tell you that these people are fucking criminals. They are absolutely criminals. There's no gray area to this shit, right? You can't tell me that if you understand just a little bit about ratios in markets and you know that, hey, I don't want to invest in fucking tech when tech is doing worse than the S&P 500. That's not a good side of the market. Tech is weak. If you can understand that, this is John Murphy basic concepts, right? Like cross-market analysis. This is super basic. If you know that this is fucking stalled, you don't keep buying tech, right? You look at energy and you say, what is strong? Energy stronger. Warren Buffett understands the very basics of not touching tech in a rate cycle while it's fucking weaker than the S&P 500. This is rudimentary, basic fucking 101 technical analysis that Kathy and an entire team of analysts have no idea about while they keep soliciting hundreds of millions of dollars into that fund. Ultimately, if the Fed pops that bad actor, right, they're going to force redemptions on this bitch. And when she fucking gets forced into redemptions, if that happens, she'll brick every one of those fucking holdings she's got. She'll floor Coin and Tesla, all of them. If she's got to come back out of here in the crazy sizes this bitch bought, she's going to be the big sell at the bottom of this stuff, and the depression phase is going to fucking be an institutional level depression phase on the back of a fucking arc like this. The liquidation, what you got to get out of this nonsense, you know, there's a bunch of them. Michael Saylor, these people are fucking idiots with billions of dollars. Like, they're a risk to the system. If you let these people survive and arc this shit again with fucking Michael Saylor's irresponsible ass in there and Kathy's fucking snake oil salesman ass in there, how much bigger is the explosion going to get in the next correction they have to do? You couldn't let Madoff survive. And that's when your big sentiment reads is like, there's a lot of stupid fucking money in the market still completely sitting there. And if they pump it again while those bitches are there and somebody doesn't get them out, Kathy grows to fucking like hundreds of billions of dollars of systemic risk. So that's sentiment things. Not trying to ruin your end of year, but you know what I'm saying? These people are fucking idiots, man. It's criminal behavior what she's doing, right? You talk about people need to be licensed XYZ, and Kathy has the right license to just fucking say retarded shit. She's been in the market since 1977, and you mean tell me this bitch doesn't understand the fucking rate cycle yet? She's been in the markets before I was alive. I could figure it out. I saw, three of them, three major fucking like liquidations in 20 years. Okay, I think I know what this looks like. I mean, a moron could figure this out. It's fucking crazy. So we're at 9:06. Let's see, what's this? Rufus says, Kaz, I bought a property at a bad time and stuffed up and didn't lock in the rate. What do you mean? Did you typo that? And stuffed up and didn't lock in the rate. If rates come down in 2024, do you think it will be just a stall like the bull flag before VIX Mageddon? What do you mean you stuffed up and didn't lock in the rate? You bought a property. Are you in the process of like closing on it, which you have a floating rate right now, or you got a current rate right now that's pretty high after the fucking 30-year pumps and stuff? I'm not sure what you mean exactly. I think right now, like, I said, I think the Fed, we look at like a TNX, this big bull flag we made for this guy. So, right, what we know is, come on. Right, let's put this guy to monthly. Boy, he's struggling. All right, we looked at this, right, and what's the long game that we talked about with China and Russia. With BRICS versus the credit system, right? One of the things we mentioned in the last show is that the goal is to drive inflation and destroy the purchasing power of the U.S. dollar, basically destroy the country's, the U.S. dollar's lock on the whole world. Part of that right now is right driving up the cost of funds, right, and the cost of money for us is basically going to slow the country down. The Fed is having to do this to combat inflationary pressures because we're war spending without growth. If we get growth back because China's just dropped all their COVID policies and is about to export all the different COVID variants that are inside their fucking borders that no one knows about to the whole world, while restarting the global economy, while Japan has just had to fucking raise interest rates themselves, a completely export-driven nation that relies on fucking a debasement of currency, you stand to have fucking inflationary pressures fucking persist as they migrate from fucking the lockdown fucking restrictions and war funding to actually a global restart. And as noted by dude online, no one, that the SPR has been depleted. We've depleted our fucking oil, and we restart the fucking economy and start to draw onto fucking petroleum around the world. You're gonna get inflation exported fucking from China back to America as we try to fucking get going, and we have fucking a sick workforce. You're gonna end up fucking having inflation constantly be a factor. You can have rising rates and rising asset prices in a situation like that. It's like stagflation, no real growth, but you're trying to fight inflation and fucking debasing the currency, and end up with high interest rates, like you did going into the 80s. So I think people looking for super low rates again and the Fed to take it down to the ground like what you saw sustain for a few years is probably not in the cards when we look at the structures of what we see right here, because this is a macro bull flag in itself in yields that is basically BRICS trying to stop our access to cheap money, the thing that allows us to use credit to fucking bash everybody over the fucking head. They're trying to force us to fucking deal with fucking real assets at real prices that gets rid of the illusion of our credit system. So I don't think we're looking for it on this right now. We're going to pay attention to the low resolution uptrend you got here, but I think rates and mortgages and things like that, long-term yields, I don't think I see those coming back to the ground in the very near future. Even if the Fed begins to start dropping rates, I think fucking Japan raising the long bond, is an indication that long-term rates are not going to be seeing those super low yields anymore. I think your 30-year, 40-year lows and 30-year rates is probably a thing of the past. But I do think that asset prices, usually you think about high interest rates as a negative to asset prices, but ultimately if BRICS nations' goal is to debase their currency and weaken it, our purchasing power against real estate and all real assets is going to really turn into fucking the real play. You're not going to get to own real estate cheaper and be a landlord. You're going to end up being a renter to everything in your life, and you're going to have a tough time affording food and everything else. So I think trying to trade the interest rate cycle on your house in a year or two, I don't know. If you may see some relief if the Fed begins a rate cycle. I think 2024 is more likely for the Fed to become accommodative, but I don't think I think a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I wish I locked in a 3% 30-year. I don't think you're going to see that again for a while, if ever. Greet Van Hoff said, what are your thoughts about the prices of resources such as copper and lithium in the upcoming years, considering the ambition for Europe to be gas-free as much as possible? I think the ability to be gas-free is going to be hampered by being stuck in a fucking war that I don't think Putin's going to let him just off the hook in. I think you got to see what the next play is. I think China fucking reopening the economy right behind Japan, showing inflationary pressures are hurting them, is not an accident. Right? China's had the whole country locked down, zero tolerance, and all of a sudden drops all of it, completely reverses and allows you to open when everybody's basically sick and everybody's fighting the same thing, down to waiting for the last guy in the credit system, which is Japan, the weakest guy, exposed most to inflation, has to show that he has to do the same thing as the FOMC. And so the entire Western alliance's credit mechanisms are fighting inflation. And then China says, now, okay, let's go ahead and restart. That's not a fucking accident they did that shit. I'll tell you something interesting, you know who has the fucking call of the century right now that is not getting any fucking credit? It's fucking that weirdo Bill Gates. Has anybody realized that Bill Gates was ahead of the pandemic and bought up farmland like before China, which is what BRICS is about, food and energy, and happened to short Elon out of being the richest man in the fucking world, and no one said a word that Bill hit all of those? Do you know how fucking accurate that is? Bill's on the side of, he basically has like better than the ratio I showed you. He's long food and land, and he's short fucking Tesla. That's a fucking hedge play and a half, isn't it? And on top of that, he front run fucking goddamn he has a long an ECL. You're fucking kidding me. Yeah. Bill Clinton is an astute investor. You know why no one wants to fucking mention anything about Bill Gates though? I'll tell you why. That's why. Because who does Bill Gates have access to have the kind of information that he fucking has to be that far ahead of the planet? Only people at the top of the food chain connected to him through this motherfucker. Because it ain't Buffett. He's best friends with Buffett, alright. But Buffett didn't even make the plays that Gates did. Gates fucking hit everything that fucking you could dream of. Earlier than anybody fucking saw it. And I can only imagine that the guy that gave this motherfucker his insights is people connected to this motherfucker. A guy used to be a math teacher that somehow knew fucking presidents and the Prince of fucking England. However the fuck that works. Probably ask Sam Bankman-Fried, you could probably figure it out. He has insights that are way too far ahead, bro. Way too far ahead. Like, Bilderberg level fucking way ahead, So, like, you gotta give him credit. Like, he just shorted Elon at a #1 spot. Talk about fucking, calling the top of something. That's pretty fucking epic. I didn't give him credit for that fucking call, but he's definitely got Michael Burry on lock with that shit. Alright, let's get you guys, like, a little macro action before you fucking spin me up out here. So, again, gonna get some end of year vibes in here. Let's see. Do real quick stuff, or usual. What chart am I on? Okay. I think I'm missing something here. Alright. Things to pay attention to right now, right? We're still watching the development of this situation. Always tracking angles on this, guys. Rotated a bit. Got a low in here. If this was going to hold and be a bounce, right, you'd have a low here, and you have the makings of it, right? He's just got to do that and just not come down and go through here. Otherwise, that's deep shit. So that's all you're watching right now. Structurally, it looks like it's more than likely bound lower, right? If we're right about what we said about the anger phase, there isn't much upside once you have this happen. QQQs, which the tech is leading the weaker guy. You're definitely watching him. We told you had a good level in here to pay attention to. He bounced it. Watch it again. He gets under it. That's where I think your flag under it's like your big warning sign. Diamonds are the relatively stronger guy. And, he's sitting on top of it. But right now, like, if the market's going to really drag down, it'll probably still drag the diamonds down. And this guy will fail back into the wedge if it drags down hard enough. If we bounce in that little pattern showing the S&P, then you're looking for him to like turn up and probably go between this little zone and give you something to take off again. But even when we say the industrials are relatively stronger, it doesn't mean that as a broad-based thing, the market can't de-risk and pull down. The Dow will just fall less than your guys who fall harder, right? So you want to be aware of that. One simple thing, like I mentioned the first time here, actually many times before. John Murphy teaches you some really simple things. Like when you look at the market. Right? Tech, really simple. You want to buy strong assets. You want to buy the guy that's stronger than the median of the market, right? The S&P is the median of the market. It gives you it's all the big 500 companies from all the sectors. If I wanted to buy something like an Nvidia, I at least like to know that he's doing better than the bulk of the market, right? That's a really easy base starting point. And so, we take something like this and we look at like Nvidia versus the S&P 500. And there's no way in hell that you'd want to be longing Nvidia like in this period, right? Once he's just doing worse than the fucking broader market. But, something like Northrop Grumman and Defense, and that's as simple as that, right? So a simple way to look at the market for you guys, I'll give you something that, can help you think. And this is a winter special a gem. Let's not turn on the wrong thing, right? Take a look at the market like so. This is a John Murphy concept, right? Let's do this and let's make this, right? Let's turn this stuff off. Really simply put, we could look really quickly and see what's really doing well in the marketplace, right? Looking at the market like this, you can see that, communications is pretty much dog shit on the year. And the XLE, the XLU, these are the strong sides of the market. This is where the strength is, where no one is. No one's looking at tech, looking at discretionary, looking at Tesla, looking at retailers. They're the worst part of the market. This is one view of the market you can have. Another simple way to do it is to do something like this, right? This shows you everybody in terms of the S&P. Now looking at this, right, I want to know who's doing better than the S&P 500. That's where my money's got to go. This is something that even Kathy Woods does not demonstrate the simple knowledge of. From the Fed began de-risking the market, it's been an energy boom. Dirty energy. It's been just nonstop energy. If you're anywhere over here in discretionary, retail, communications, tech, you have gotten fucking destroyed. Anybody telling you to catch the knife looking at this does not understand this really basic concept of looking at sectors in terms of the S&P. This is pretty much where you should always at least start, guys. What side of the market? And it depends on your resolutions, obviously. If you got to train in 5 minutes, you don't care about this. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at like just, where to be in the marketplace, this is a very base concept that fucking a rookie technician should understand. And so when you start looking at some things, one, is the fucking side of the market you're on even doing well? Ask yourself some questions that, would help you think out, like, what I should be doing here. Do I want to trade this thing on a big res? And on a big res, is he even part of the side of the market that's even been doing well? Is it even fucking something that, like, is worth my time to look at? Or is it a dead dog like fucking these guys that I got to wait a long time to see, Once upon a time, they were the good side of the market, before fucking COVID, right? Energy was a dog. And this would have been a good time not to do that. But we look at it today and it's clearly not, right? Circumstances are much different. So add something like this to your like repertoire and you'll have a much clearer view of where you want to start with stuff, And if you're doing it here, you're doing it fucking like, intraday, whatever. It's the same difference, right? What's going on? Right now we know that fucking industrials are really great lately, right? And so industrials and energy is where you want to be, not fucking tech or discretionary or garbage. Until further notice, on various resolutions. So, something for you guys to like, fuck around with. Merry Christmas, bitches. Alright, so DXY things, let's go back here. Where's my levels for this? DXY watching him, remember? He's corked up on him, the base. He's rotated this angle, but until he comes out of here, he hasn't proven shit. As he kind of like, the last high to put him down here is right here. You probably want to watch like that. If he does rotate up, he'll flag it and probably come through there. If he comes through this on the lows, the squeezes we see in things like Euro can actually keep going. It's like barely just violated the angle and looking extremely strong. So the dollar's still kind of struggling with that, I looked at a couple of things in currencies and, the Euro is unusually strong. He's one of the strong guys that we like to pay attention to, and Euro USD, as he's rallying on the low resolution uptrend we're watching here, even though he's violated this one, he's still holding this trend currently. We know if the market gets weaker, Euro Aussie tends to be a guy that reflects de-risking, and he's rotated a really big flag that we want to pay attention to if the market does have a depression wave still yet to come. Euro GBP, we know since the Queen's been dead, they've just been fucked. Been paying attention to this, didn't flag out of here, actually blew a spike into the top, and I like this guy if he goes back out here. To continue the long-term trend of Euro versus England, the empire looks like it's dead. And so fucking the Eurozone has been tracking against England for a while. This has been stalled, but if we get outside here, I like this guy to finish the rotation of this bull flag. What else do I have in here? Euro Canadian. Canada sucks. Sorry. I don't know. I watched too much Family Guy. But anyway, so Canada got up here. It's a bit of a crazy run going on that guy, right? There's a bit of a stick. Might be a little late to that. Needs to kind of slow down. But if you can hold this level and the Euro basket keeps on doing shit, might be something to fucking pay attention to. Looking at GBP, CHF. This guy could be like, bound for the ground too. CHF's been unusually strong. No one's watching it. CAD CHF looks fucking kind of structurally similar. So CHF is like a bull market against fucking a couple people right now, and no one's really paying attention to CHF at all. In the industrial space, I tell you some kind of cool ones I stumble upon. This is kind of like a macro plus like everything. They can just do it everything. What do I got? 922. It's kind of gonna be everything, motherfuckers. I'm going as quick as I can. So VIX things. Keep track of VIX today. And into the next week. Under model kill lever, really fucking jammed up in here. Fake break on the bull flag. Congested, still sitting on 21. So the zone is 2269 by 21. We pump back out of here. Be fucking on guard. If we're gonna squeeze, it's gonna be probably going with this to 21, and it might take till next year before we see that. Given 1 day left. So that's that's VIX. We did DXY, crypto things. Crypto is definitely to be fucking on guard. If the market's gonna de-risk, crypto's gonna de-risk. Period. And we're gonna end up seeing fucking triple digit ETH and well past what anybody fucking wants to see. If we're going down to a depression wave, like we said, marked by where Sam is, and we have the last reaction down, I would pay attention very carefully. ETH is definitely a good proxy. This emotional structure of TrollX is definitely the best proxy for a fucking trigger zone. We end up in this place, fucking high alerts, all of Winternomics TV ecosystem. ETH BTC, someone asked for, I saw, just try to slide in here since I'm not going to get to do symbols, but I try to get it inside here. So my macro in ETH BTC has been like this guy, right? I think ETH is in a macro bull trend rotation on Bitcoin because he just is going to be the more useful guy going forward if he doesn't get attacked by the government somehow. And so I think he's in this congestion zone attempting to rotate what we drawn out before, right? This pump out, and he should have flagged here, which he's doing. And so if he gets above this trigger and stabilizes, I think that's the next time you care about him. It's been pretty long since he's been here, since May last year when Bitcoin did that crazy ass dump. Remember on the show where we had the knife catch? It's been stabilized. ETH BTC has been pretty much stuck ever since that point. So keeping eyes on it though. Right now you're kind of just congested. It's noisy. This is probably not the place to fuck around and let him get out of this. And I think he continues his migration towards that high. I think that's about it, right? So yeah, that's about it. I'm not gonna kill you guys. It's 9:24. I packed in as much as I could in 45 minutes. Hope you guys dig it. You learned a lot. You learned some things about fucking looking at stronger assets versus weaker assets. And that logic that you saw with us looking at the S&P, that's applicable in crypto, right? You could very much take your crypto asset and check his index, his total. Is he doing better than fucking like the average of the market? And just make sure he's not a dog, right? Always play strength when it's possible. So that's as much as I can pack in here, guys. Keep things simple. There's only up and down. If you think it's going sideways, it's a problem resolution. There's a bull market inside that shockwave. You just have to zoom in, right? So for everybody out here, I appreciate you guys that support the show, that have been here all year, acolytes. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the concept calls, the live calls. I definitely try to keep balance with health things so I can sustain doing all of that, and enjoy everybody that shows up and has been learning a lot and progressing with the eco. We're going to keep going with our passion to train a smarter audience and build an ecosystem that retail can actually survive the gauntlet they've laid out there for all of us to fall into. What did it say? Let's see. Oh, I didn't tell you guys that. Let's see, it's 9:25. I did have something I did want to say. Can I pack it in here? Well, it won't be an Easter egg because I don't have the time, but I did want to show you something. Fuck. I need to try this. Got nothing on it right now. Yeah, so something to think about the psychology-wise, right? Let's do this. Fast. Apple. So one of the things that is a mind fuck when you're in like a big de-risk is like in the real-time moment. Let's see. Right, in the real-time moment, this is Apple on the right side. This is today. This is Apple back in. I had intended to show you this too. I showed this last night. So like, see, when you're like in a bull market and stuff, seeing it rotate down is very hard for people to fucking let go. When the sentiment gets where you can't tell it's falling down anymore, that's where the big danger happens, right? So like this is Apple, and structurally, if you look at Apple, this is 1 day to 1 week. But I'm going to show you how structurally similar what you're looking at is right now, right? This is what it looks like. And even if it's going to rotate, it'll look like that. This is why we track angles, to try to stop ourselves from guessing. When you look at this, right, that's structurally exactly like the shape that you've got going on right now, right? 1, 2, and then 3 contacts, and then he's here, right? You got that like 1, 2, big deep dive, and then 3 contacts, he's here. This congestion really shows up actually over here. Right there. All right, when Apple crashes the rest of the way, this is the fucking destruction right here. This is September, where it's like that. You were to get something like that, it would just gas pedal out of here. Like we said, this is depression wave. People really couldn't see it until it's too late, you know? It doesn't look like shit right here. If you look at how it seemed, and you look at where you're coming from, people just wouldn't bet on it. You know, when the sentiment is right, they'll step in front of the train. And you've got that, where everyone wants to catch Tesla, everyone wants to catch Apple, and no one's looking at what I'm talking about, the rotation of sectors where we know that industrials are in. It's not tech. This is not the train you want to jump in front of. So underneath this threshold, you know, some of the stuff I showed you there, like was on the Qs coming down, you know, pay attention to those. If we get underneath there, the liquidation move can be fast. So watching this right now, this is the level we bounce on in the Qs. This is the next point you care about right now. While we're there, ARC is through the fucking pavement, right? And so is Coin. These guys are in definite places that if we let go, it gets worse. Anyways, before I fucking run this into a fucking cliff of market opens, that was something I just wanted to show you from like the way that it looks before it unfolds, to kind of keep like that flexible mindset. That's why we track low resolution, you know, uptrends or downtrends and then macro trends, so we aren't left our own devices to go, I think this is the bottom. You don't want to ever put yourself in that predicament. If this thing's gonna fucking liquidate the shit out of everybody, I want everybody that's watching this station to survive it. So, you know, if you can't navigate it, just get the fuck out and let it fucking like play out or stabilize. Anyways, that's it, guys. Appreciate all of you. It's 9:29. See your battle stations. You've got seconds left because I'm an asshole. You've got 40 seconds, motherfuckers. Appreciate everybody. Happy New Year, bitches. Catch you on the flip. Peace out.
Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome